Hello everybody and welcome to ESD and the introduction of the Galaxy X Dreadnought. Not the fleet version, because... Before I begin though, a few points. One, I apologize for the sound of my voice, which is probably quite horrible. I picked up a cold in Vegas. Two, the video for Ice has a slightly different build than what I'm going to show you here, because I mentioned a Vegas, and if you've noticed, my first two videos came out a week apart, and this one's going to be 2 weeks after. But I quickly recorded some videos, didn't quite have the build finished, wasn't quite happy with the videos, but I just wanted to get them out before I left. And I started uploading them the night before I left, and they were still uploading the morning I left, and then they never finished. And I don't know why. So I'm re-recording them because I may as well now. So hopefully there'll be videos that I like and I don't have to do this another 6 times. And I also want to show you my duty officer tiers, because I'm tier 4 in everything except colonial and recruitment, because they move at a snail's pace, so I'm only tier 3 in those. But I think that's pretty exciting. Finally got tier 4 in trade. Anyways, let's dive right into it now. That's me in my relaxing senator's uniform, because it looks like robes. Well, it is robes. Now the build. Advanced fleet phaser beams. Accuracy ×2, damage ×2. All up front, one in the back. Got the experimental proton weapon, the enhanced biomolecular photon torpedo launcher, and the kinetic cutting beam. And these 3 would be phasers, but I need their 2 set bonuses. So the 2 set for the experimental proton weapon, and you can see I have the proton particle stabilizer, is plus 3% critical chance, and usage of fire at will with the experimental proton weapon. I needed both of those. The photon projectile damage boost, I don't know, it's okay. I have a photon on here. It never gets used, but for this, and it's a very good torpedo, by the way. I should point out that it always does the biomolecular incubation. So it is a good torpedo. And it here grants a 7.5% bonus to phasers and disruptor damage. And I needed that, because I only have 3 tactical slots. And because this is based around phaser beams. That's its main power damage dealie. And of course, I had to go for the 2-piece Borg bonus, because it's just good. For the deflector, I finally got it. I used the Nakura deflector array. I've wanted this deflector since Season 7, to be honest. Because 17.5 subsystem repair, 26.2 shield emitters, 17 structural integrity, 26 shield systems, and 17 power insulators. What on that would you not want for a tactical ship? It's everything you want and need to boost survivability, so you can throw in other stuff towards tactical abilities. I did have the 2-piece Borg set on it, but its deflector kind of sucks. It helps shield healing at ship hit points, but that's it. Everything else was pretty much useless for me. So, we've also got the Nakura impulse engines, which give you +5, and in space, you'll see, it's +5 bonus shield power. So +10 bonus shield power. It's awesome. And there's a 2-piece set bonus with this, which is kind of crap. 2.5% all weapon damage, and you get weapon stabilizers, which automatically removes weapon disabled conditions after 3 seconds. Which is good. My weapons almost never go down. Sorry, that's just bugging me. My weapons almost never go down. So, when they do, they're only down for 3 seconds now. For consoles, we have the Nakura Particle Converter, because it boosts power insulators by 17.3, gives you another +5 shield power. It boosts particle generators by 17.3, and gives you +10% accuracy with beams. Enhanced Neutronium plus Turn, and Enhanced RCS plus All Resistance. Those, of course, are Mark 12 and from the Fleet Mine. Of course, the Assimilated Console, which gives you critical chance, severity, weapons power, slight boost to hull repair, and boost your graviton generators. All of that besides gravitons are good for this build. Hydrodynamics Compensator. I really like this console. +3 engine, +3 auxiliary, 17.3 starship targeting, and 23.1 to flight turn rate. I mean, it's good for every ship. You can't go wrong with that. And of course, the proton particle stabilizers for their 2-piece bonus and their +3 to weapons and engine power. Tactical is 3 vulnerability locators plus phaser, Mark 12s, and of course my Yellowstone runabouts, because I absolutely love them. I want to try Jem'Hadar fighters, but for now, these are great. And of course, I need to get in a higher tier fleet for that. The traits we're using are pretty much the same. The Astrophysicist is back instead of Hot Pursuit, but other than that, it's all the same there. Same for the active ones. Because I was away for a week, I don't have tier 5 in Undine Rep. But for space abilities, we went with Auxiliary Configuration Offense, because this is an offense-focused ship. Tactical Advantage, so to target 0 to 15 damage resistance rating on target's current health. Oh, minus 0 to 15. So once they hit 50% or less of their hull, their damage resistance gets chewed away by this ability, which is nice. Plus 4% critical chance, of course, and plus 16% critical severity with advanced targeting systems. This one before was precision. And I believe there's a trait you can buy, although I'm pretty sure I did buy this one, because I'm pretty sure it is called precision. I was looking through the Tal Shiar lockbox, so I'm going to look into that, because if I could get more critical chance, that'd be cool. Time to beam up to space to get a look at some of the stats. There we are. So, none of this is really important. Our power transfer rate for some reason was 325 for a second there. The hull strength is 54,123, which is minuscule. It's like the same as my heavy escort carrier. I had to remember the name of it there because I haven't used it in 2 weeks, unfortunately. But that's what it is. I just realized I forgot to show you my warp core. The Fleet Hyper Injection warp core is back. And I finally got an Elite Fleet Adaptive Regenerative Shield Array. Capacity ×2, resistance B, and adapt. And I love this shield. See, a lot of people tend to really like resilience because they've got a small bleed through, and I mean the small bleed through is really good, and they've got a high capacity, but they're so slow to regenerate. I found that using a regenerative, most of the time my shields will be running at like 10%. But not a regenerative, a resilient, they'd be at 10%. With a regenerative, I found that they rarely drop below 75. And the thing is, I use transfer shield strength, which reduces damage to shields. It gives them a damage resistance. So does emergency power to shields. So they don't take big amounts of damage a lot of the time anyways. And with that, it's good to have them regen. Now, fighting the crystalline entity, however, those bursts are big enough to not only take down a shield facing in one shot, but they also take a bit of the hull. So you do have that trade-off, but I found that regenerative is better in most circumstances. You want a ship that can slump off damage quickly. At least I do. For my playstyle, I need a ship that slumps off the damage really quickly because I just jump from target to target to target to target to target. The goal with this ship is to be able to overwhelm everybody and just slump it off and jump to another group and overwhelm everybody and slump it off. I haven't gotten around to do testing in PvP with this build. I want to, but I don't necessarily want to just go into a queue and make people mad at me because I'm a noob. And after a week of not playing, I am a noob. I've kind of gotten back into the groove, but now, back to the stats. You don't want to hear me continuing on with my rambling. So those resilient shields, with their low capacity, are running at 8,157, with a regeneration rate of 228.1 every 6 seconds. And then, of course, emergency power to shields is regenerating, what is that, almost 2,000 and almost 1,500. And boosting shield power to boost their generation rate. Or not boost their generation rate, but whatever. And look at those power levels when I hit emergency power shields too. They're obscene. It was 125, 125, and probably 190. Can't beat that. Well, I mean, I'm sure people can. I'm not going to go and say that I can build a ship with the most power out of anybody in the whole game, because that's a stupid statement and it'd be totally wrong. So good shields. Kinetic resist, 29.2. Damage resistance are a 31.3. But I've got ox to dampeners, and look what happens when we hit that. 47 for kinetic and 44. So again, that 10% bleed through on the shield is fine. 10% of their energy bleeds through to your hull, and half of it nearly is slumped away by your resistance. Big deal. Let them. I can live without resilient shields in this ship, for sure. The attack stats are also pretty good. 31% bonus accuracy, 17.2% critical chance, and 80.2% critical severity. And I guess technically I could put a Gravitor on the back and lose the phaser damage, but gain more critical severity. Actually, I'm going to try it like that and see how that happens to work. Let's look at the DPS 2 at this moment, and that'll also help guide us on this one. So the DPS currently on the phaser beams, they do 1236.5 phaser damage at 990.9 DPS. And with the gravimetric torp, they are doing 1156.6 phaser damage at 925.3 DPS, but my critical severity is 90.2 instead of 80.2. That's a tough question. Because with the bonus accuracy, those beams are doing criticals more like, I don't know, 90% of the time. Not 90% of the time, what am I talking about? More like 26, 27% of the time. Maybe. I haven't parsed it in a while. Yeah, that's probably a better thing to go with. Plus those gravimetric rifts will pull people in. You can go with either. These phaser beams are pretty deadly. Even though they're single beams. And movement. We bring her up to full speed. See a turn rate of 15.9. And that boosts to 20.6, which looks like this. Of course, I had to hit a ship while I did that. It's pretty good. I like how this ship moves. And if you cut the power, look at that. That's perfect inertia. I love pulling that trick. When they get in a grav well, running up to them and shooting along the side to bring all my side weapons to bear and even hopefully get the torpedo in there for a shot. And then cut the power and kick it around and let it slide into a broad sliding position. It's really good for that. So, for the buff abilities, let's look at my stations. Sorry, and you can't see my mouse movement, but it's not as smooth as I would like it. I'm still getting used to the G600. That's what I needed to say too. I'm not going to be as good doubly because of a week off, and I just got the G600 on Friday, which was the day before I left, at about 9 at night. So I had a couple hours to play with it then. I think I only had like an hour with packing and crap that I had to do. And I've only used it for a few hours this week, so. Anyways, TAC Team 1 and 2 fire at wills. Yes, I went for the loaded up with beams and do FA, but it's fun. And I will, it's okay to have a build like that. I don't think I would bring it into PvP again, that's what the heck's for, but for my, oh, that's also my Romulan, but this is just an Andorian, so I don't get more boosts to other things, because my Romulans are more of a general purpose, and my human is a torpedo officer. And I don't feel like getting rid of any more officers or spending money on new ones, or new spaces. So we've got a liberated Borg with her efficiency, and Commander Engineering with emergency powered shields 1 and 2, aux to dampeners 2, and reverse shield polarity 3. Reverse shield polarity is very important, because don't have to use it often. But when I do, instead of it being a guaranteed death, I'm at full shields again. It takes so long in some circumstances for me to come down to no shields that to just go back up to them, the enemy's never going to overcome me again. For Lieutenant Commander, we have a Betazoid. So again, nothing special. But Engineering Team 1, aux to dampeners 1, and Dem 2. And then I've got a Space Psi in Lieutenant Science Station, who's my Saurian, with Efficient, Transfer Shield Strength 1, and Hazard Emitters 2. Oh, my nose feels terrible. I apologize for the sniffling. For duty officers, 2 column officers to make sure that TAC team is constantly up. And it also improves attack patterns, which is cool. So as you can see, attack pattern alpha does 47.1 all damage, 4.7 critical chance, 47.1 critical severity, and 113.6 flight turn rate. We hit attack team. Now does 50.5, 5, 50.5, and 121.6 respectively for 30 seconds. Although, as you can see, just before attack team ran out, so that boost. Got the Warp Core Engineer, who you all know. He's the guy who made all these power levels shoot up to pretty much 100. And then I've got 2 maintenance engineers, which do the same as the con officers, but for engineering team, and they boost hull repair. So, what that means is I put engineering team into my Alpha Strike, and I guess technically my Beta Strike. If you look at my hull repair rate, right now it's 184.5% per minute. It's not bad, but it's not great. Engineering team, 198.9. It's about what it was with the Borg set. So I've got the Borg 2-piece bonus, basically, but with a better set, which also comes with a meh bonus. You can't go wrong with that. An engineering team is constantly running. So I'm constantly getting 6,765.1 hull hit points. Any disabled subsystems are automatically repaired and they stay up for 5 seconds, can't be disabled. And get rid of the engineering debuffs too. I don't think there really is many engineering debuffs, but whatever there are, I'm not affected by. What's also cool, as you'll note, that Ox to Dampers boosted my energy resistance. Oh, okay, you can see it here. You can see that it is boosting my energy resistance by 40. And that's because of the Matter-Antimatter Specialist. Finally got good DOFs. And it increases resistance to energy damage for 23 seconds, when auxiliary power to dampers is activated, increasing the duration of auxiliary power to dampers by 8 seconds. And to self, plus 40 all damage resistance rating for 23 seconds. It's great. My damage resistances are great. I love Ox to dampeners. It's pretty much a staple of all my builds now. And what's funny is how, you see an escort and it's all tactical officers and an engineering, maybe 2. And then you look at a cruiser and it's all engineering officers except a couple of con officers to make up for the limited tactical abilities. It's just kind of funny. Oh, my nose is driving me nuts. Alright. The power levels we're running, obviously it's going to be 125 in weapons, 125 and 95. For shields, remember I have a lot of things boosting shield power, so it's 7730. Engines are 7340, and auxiliary is 6735. And I did used to run 7040, and I think this was like 6735. But it made more sense. I get more of a boost out of auxiliary dropping at 5, but nothing was really boosting engines based on low power, so engines got a bit more power. And it gave me 0.3 of a flight turn rate. Every little bit on this thing counts. And of course, I'm sure everybody's seen Galaxy X by now, but holy crap, is it a pretty ship. And with that Nakura set, I just leave the engine visuals active, because look at that. They're not the best colors, but I like them. They're different. It lets people know that there's the Nakura set on here, but it still looks like the classic Gal-X. And it's different. As for this ship, do I need a fleet version? No, I don't. Not unless I was PvPing with it, and I don't think I would anyways. Just because of the nature of the build, I feel it's a little cheap. It's more of a copy pasta. Even though it's my own build, you know, it's still that loaded up with beams and fire at will. Flavor of the month build, and I don't like to put people through that. But it's a great ship otherwise. I love that it's got a hangar. I tend to really gravitate towards ships with hangars. I don't know why, but they add a hangar to a ship and it automatically becomes awesome. I love the Vesta, I love the Heck, and I love the Gal-X. So I kind of had to have the complete trinity of hangar ships. However, when they're carriers, they tend to suck because, you know, the addition of one carrier makes it 18,000 times the size and half as maneuverable as an Odyssey. Which, holy crap, that thing doesn't maneuver. That's like a just park and hit things ship. So yeah, if you've been thinking about getting the Dreadnought, do it. It's great. I really like it. And there's so much you can do with it. I've seen it built effectively with dual cannons. I, of course, didn't buy the Galaxy pack, so I don't have the antimatter spread or the saucer set, but both are decent consoles. I feel there's better uses for the console spaces, but again, that's all me. That's how I'm building it. You know, you don't have to build it in this kind of tactical manner, where everything is focused. Well, not everything is focused, really, but I'm using the innate defense of the ship so that I can pour more into its offense. Yeah, but you can build it as a support ship. You could build it as an engineer looking to do more damage. I don't think I'd take it as a science officer, but that's just because I feel like science officers do best in escorts and science ships. I don't think science and engineering can really mix and make something viable. And I have experimented with that, because my Romulan's an engineer and he used to fly a science ship and it was horrible. And it couldn't even do an easy fleet alert. It would just get trounced, so. That is my video. Those are my jumbled thoughts. Thank you for watching, and have a good one, guys.